level he will be at.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see if some of that Sonic movement from his Sonic story would transfer over into this game. Maybe like Pyramid Cave and Green Forest have gone a bit better.
Yeah, he did always consider himself to be a bit of a Sonic specialist, always his best character. So yeah, if he's improved that even a little bit further, you can see just sort of what sort of level he will be performing at.
Yeah, and especially since he was doing some D-Rust runs last night, so I guess they're starting.
Oh yeah, we do have the offer from both runners. So interesting, yeah. As we enter into Cityscape, interesting to see if either of these are able to hit the skip.
It'll be a good race if they both do. Otherwise, one person will be playing catch-up over the other one.
We did see it in the last race, obviously, Dawn hitting it and Ninja Frog missing it, but then that catch-up through the early game, as we were practically level leaving Route 101, so definitely possible to close that gap up if a few mistakes do creep into someone's game.
Yeah, and especially since a lot of these runs are all about the momentum you can pick up through each of these stages, because all it takes is one mistake to throw you off your rhythm, and then it seems like the mistakes will just keep piling up over and over. That's how we saw Dawn almost game over in Green Forest.
Yeah, very easy to have a sort of mental block come into something. I see Wagers now setting up for a C-skip, going pauseless, not quite hitting it.
Going for the second attempt, Jazz hitting it for the first attempt. That's going to put her very far ahead.
Yeah, Wagers again not getting it on his second attempt, so going to have to go skipless. Yeah, definitely the big advantage now for Jazz. A little slow on that pause, which will cost her a little bit of time, but nothing compared to the amount of time she's going to save by having this skip.
Yeah, considering that Wagers going skipless, it's going to be at least a 2-minute time minimum, while Jazz, if she can keep this up, is looking to get probably a 1:30 if I'm looking at this correctly. So it's going to be a pretty good gap between the both of them.
Yeah, maybe looking, not the cleanest truck section, so maybe a mid 130 here, maybe or maybe even a high 130, getting thrown up again there, so a little through her truck section.
135, I believe. Yep. 136 V1 and then 135 IPT.
So, yeah, so definitely the positive start here for Jazz, as you see Wagers now coming through the rail section.
Did a good job not to eat more.
Yeah, we have seen that once, I believe, in the tournament. Very unlucky individual.
I could tell. I was very unlucky.
You only have yourself to blame.
And he's more.
As you see Wagers now coming towards the end, yeah, looking to about a 2:10. So not the best skipless we'll see in this tournament. So that gap about 35 seconds leaving Cityscape. So pretty significant.
But it could always be worse, and it's a good thing I decided to stop going for attempts and just, you know, accept the time loss and go for the skipless.
Oh, you do see Jazz here.
Oh no,
taking
Jazz!
the death.
Oh no!
Oh, I said this in the Dawn one last time that I'm very used to going through this fight ringless, just as she was doing there, and then taking that hit. So opening the door straight back up to Wagers here to close it.
And that's exactly what we were talking about. Oh my
and
god,
the
Jazz broke the front box.
Does
She's
well to
going for
adjust
the
the
other
right
one.
side. It does clean up the fight on the right
Ooh.
side. Again, not the cleanest Bigfoot from Jazz. So definitely a chance here for Wagers to claw some of this time back.
But that was also an amazing recovery from her. Most people wouldn't know how to just hop onto that right box and do everything, you know, in reverse direction. So very good play from her.
See what RNG has for the two of them. Pretty average first piece here for Jazz. Into a
putting the
bad
pill.
second piece.
Oh, Bird Box P1 from Wagers.
Doing well to spot it. He does have a bit of history of hunting. Maybe sometimes unfairly criticized.
Oh no.
Yeah, definitely getting the better of it here. I'm getting missing the free piece though.
I can already hear Cryptic yelling from here.
But he does well to clean up the set, finish it off as Jazz finishes as well. And we see now the runners less or just over 3 seconds between them.
Yeah, and this is exactly what we were talking about, how once you get into a rhythm, you can sometimes keep it going or drop it. The lead is now dropped to only 3 seconds in Jazz's favor.
Yeah, so we're just coming out there with a 23 and what could have been, well, probably looking about a 10, 15 second set if he'd seen that free piece. So throwing away the potential chance of getting ahead.
I mean, to be fair, though, usually when I get Bird Box, I have a very hard time seeing that piece. So it's not like it was the freest thing to see.
100%. Like, it's in a different cycle than where you normally look for it. So very easy to miss. You see both runners here cleaning up Eggman 2. Cleaner fight there definitely for Jazz, getting about a 1.7-second advantage through it. But still exactly 5 seconds now separating our runners as we enter into prison lane.
And this is one of the very technical stages for Tails, since you don't have those pause headers yet. A lot of it is just based on your movement.
Yeah, just maintaining that momentum as you go through some of these corners. You see Jazz, they're going for that little rail hop and missing it. And Wager's, I believe, getting it. So yeah, definitely was known a lot more for his character movement than his other sort of hunting ability. So we'll see some, maybe hopefully an advantage here for Wagers, leveling this match right back up again.
Yeah, they're honestly like within frame of each other. Yeah, it's always nice to see runners on the same pace as each other. It makes it very intense.
Yeah, so very, very matched RTA. There is a slight, about a 3-second advantage for Jazz on the elevator. But yeah, definitely keeping this race very nice and close. The Jazz did have the potential to maybe run away a bit after hitting that CE skip, but we're just doing well to capitalize on her mistakes and just keep this nice and close.
Yeah. Some good times you could typically expect on this stage are usually around low to mid-high 130s. That's usually what higher level runners would get on this stage. So we'll see what pace both of them can end the stage with.
Yeah, definitely possible with some of the really top level movement to get sub 130, though I don't see too many other runners probably not attempting that sort of level through the tournament. I think we have seen a 132 showing sort of some of the peak level you can have.
All right, let's see. They're heading up to the end of prison lane. Let's see if they can get that second rail hop. Both of them are able to get it.
Yeah, so Wager's putting a little bit ahead here on RTA, but not getting the cleanest lock-ons there. The Wolves finished stage 449 and Jazz at 447, so only a second and a half now between them.
Jazz is doing good keeping up her lead, though.
Yeah, just maintaining that, making sure not to make too many major mistakes again after that unfortunate death in Bigfoot. But yeah, once again, after that last race, we're seeing another very well-synced race as we enter into the first real technical Sonic stage where you can take a death sort of everywhere around you in Metal Harbor.
Yeah, and this is a stage that Wagers has definitely put a lot of emphasis on it being good at, so we'll see if a lot of that muscle memory for him is still here. Because I know he used to get consistent 123s, I believe, 122s.
Both our runners here got off a very clean start, getting very nice underloops and making their way towards the upgrade. I believe that is a 19 for Wagers and a 19 for Jazz, so both of these putting on very, very clean starts.
Yeah, it's almost like I'm watching a mirror of the two screens. Both of them are using like almost the same inputs.
See our restreamer there delaying Wagers' speed a little bit just to match them back up again. Oh, was that? I'm being told that was actually frame drops. Just very fortunate that it did happen to balance our runners back up again. The attempted birthday skip there from Wagers, but Jazz, after a bit of a missed storage from Wagers, Jazz did manage to pull out a bit of a lead. Maybe only about a second or so through the stage.
All right, we got a beautiful rocket skip from Jazz, and Wagers almost messing up the rocket skip, but getting it the last second.
Yeah, both these runners now hopefully mashing A to get off this rocket nice and early. We have seen a few runners not remembering to do that, but yeah, both of them doing it. And neither of them opting to go towards the left and keep them the optimal speed through the bottom section of this tunnel.
And a lot of what to do with forgetting that rocket skip could just be nerves, because to be honest, if you're like focusing on the run, then the last thing you're thinking about is pressing A and getting off that rocket.
Oh yeah, definitely. As we see a high 124 and a high 125. Yeah, that second difference just separating our runners.
Yeah, Jazz gained the lead back up to 3 seconds.
But still extremely tight here as we enter into a faker cutscene. So getting some dueling fakers. We start moving into you'd say probably not the most technical section of the game. This next one, Green Forest, one you wouldn't expect to make too many major mistakes in, other than maybe some attempted wall runs. It's a pretty straightforward stage to go through, just avoiding the geometry throwing you up. I'd say the next major part of this run will be Mission Street, providing Pumpkin Hill plays along for both of our runners, and we'll see what cycles they're attempting to get during that stage.
Yeah, Mission Street's one of those very technical stages where you have to hit certain cycles to get the times that you need, and little mistakes like that could just cause lots of time loss, especially if you're late to a cycle by even like a couple frames. Wager's having a little trouble.
Wagers, they're struggling to get that third hit. Does eventually get it with storage, That does open up another 10 seconds for Jazz, so 13 seconds now.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here as they both enter into Green Forest. Do you think we'll see a wall run attempt from Wagers or Jazz?
I'm not entirely sure. I've not watched most of Jazz's, a lot of Jazz, I will be honest, so I'm not entirely sure what sort of strategy does go for. I don't expect to see one from Wagers. Maybe if he was in practice, he might consider it, but being how long he's been out of this game, maybe not quite going to go for it.
Yeah, I do know Jazz, she's been doing a lot of IL attempts recently on her when she's been practicing, so it'll be interesting to see if she's been practicing wall run as well, or if she's just going to go for a consistent, just general playthrough of the stage.
Yeah, I think we'll see a lot of runners who do have the capability of potential wall runs, opting not to take them through this tournament if they're not at the most comfortable. It's one thing to try it in a PB when you can just reset and go again, but when you're in this no reset scenario...
Oh no, Jazz messing up the first loop skip. Oh no.
So that does give some of that time back to Wagers after that unfortunate Shadow 1 fight. I believe he will now be slightly ahead.
Yeah, I believe Wagers just now took it by a couple seconds at least. We'll see if Jazz can do it the second time or she's going to opt normally. She does get it the second time.
So we saw Wagers go through the checkpoint at the top of the section at about 2:15. So looking like he has about a 6 or 7 second lead here as he enters the wall run section. Not expecting to see an attempt here.
Wait a minute. Yeah, no. Wagers just opting to skip the loop. We'll see Jazz coming up to the same area now.
See if she's trying to make some time back here with an attempt.
Oh, she's going
to be attempting it.
Oh,
doesn't quite get the loop speed.
no. That's just going to put her further behind.
That is the risk reward of some of these harder strats. She will be going for it again.
She does get it.
The tree. So
there we go.
No task run attempts, so she'll be going for Moonshot here. Getting around that invisible wall, but not making it.
No, that's got to eat up even more time.
Oh, very unfortunate there from Jazz. Let's see if she opts to go... Well, I think she was looking to go safe there, not quite getting her spin dash off her right. But yeah, we'll be taking the safe way up the tree now, but definitely handing the advantage here to Wagers with those 2 failed wall runs and the death earlier in the stage.
Wagers finishing with a 141, which is a pretty decent time for somebody at the 25 to 26 PB level. And we'll see as he enters into Pumpkin Hill if that set knowledge of his can help him get through this stage or if he's going to run into any issues with where pieces are. So typically on Pumpkin Hill, what you're typically looking for is getting around a church or ghost train P1 into a Pumpkin Hill P2, so that way P3 is farther away. Typically, if you get past that, your times are really going to start sinking for it. So we'll see what Wagers gets.
Starting off with that Twin Skulls check, we did see this from Ninja Frog in the last race, and then not actually getting Twin Skulls and not seeing it. Wagers did have a look, not getting it, I don't believe. I couldn't quite see it on our feed.
Yeah, he's currently got 3-faced ghosts. We'll see what the P2 is if he can grab the piece.
He didn't know what the piece is, so he gets it nice and quick. Getting Pumpkin Family, opting there to make a little bit of a climb up the wall, I think, maybe to make sure he gets this higher rocket.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's much of a time difference between upper and lower rocket if you go immediately to lower rocket, but I could be wrong. I never timed it myself. And now we'll get to see what Jazz's P1 is. A path flying with rings, I think that's it.
So Wagers gets the 50-50 and getting the close one. So a good third piece here for Wagers. Jazz here struggling a little bit to get Pathfinder rings.
Yeah, P2 Sleep with the Dead.
I see you catching yourself there from using the community favored name for this piece.
Yeah, I had to say that one a little slow, but I made sure the language was appropriate.
She does get it and gets...
Ooh.
So not a terrible piece here, because she can take the rocket obviously across the map, bringing her a lot closer to it.
Yeah, we can see how volatile these races are now, as Wagers finished with a 906 and Jazz is leading with a 934, so Wagers has about a 30-second lead now.
We do, of course, enter into Mission Street now, one of the cycle-based stages of the run, the only cycle-based stage, apology. Hope for both runners is to be attempting zero cycle, but any mistakes can really open the door up for your opponent, as we did see in the last one again. Ninja Frog unfortunately missing the final fourth of her and having to take the path, the walk of shame as it's commonly referred.
Yeah, getting that last pause hover wrong and having to walk, it's such a huge time loss because you're missing at least 2 cycles from it. And in a race like this, where you need to keep as many seconds as you can, missing that one pause hover can cause you a lot of damage. I should know, I dropped it.
As they're taking the hit from the enemy, it won't stop her chance here of getting the cycle, which limits their IGT abuse, so losing a couple of seconds potentially to that. You see, it does get the way hop nice and clean.
Yeah, but the way hop isn't, I don't think the way hop determines if you get 0 cycle. I think it's what happens past the first weight elevator that determines it.
Yeah, I mean, you need the way hop to get onto this cycle here, because missing this cycle will cost you the 0 cycle.
See if Wagers gets it.
Wagers
no!
does mess up the
Wagers taking the walk of shame.
Everything did look clean up until that point, but this does open the door a little bit for Jazz. We're messing up a pulse over there though, so
Jazz could still go for half cycle here. She does definitely have enough time for it.
if the movement is cleaner, it's still costing me 0 cycle even with a mistake.
Yeah, I believe this is just going to be a second cycle from Wagers. He's going to accept the fact that he has to grab that.
Yeah, looking at Jazz's movement here, I think she's going to have to settle here for half cycle. Not taking the riskier line, just see the cycle now disappearing. Will settle for that half cycle, which definitely will save time over Wagers taking that second cycle, it looks like.
Yeah, it will definitely save some time. I believe it'll be about 15-20 seconds, so we should see maybe about a 10 to 15 second gap between these runners as they finish mission street, barring no other mistakes.
Yeah, definitely keeping this race nice and close though. Only 10 to 15 seconds as you enter what in mind.
Yeah, and these are also pretty decent times from these runners. Like typically leaving mission street at around 11:30 to 11:45 is usually a pretty good time. So they're both playing very well right now.
Now come around the corner, gonna finish off his mystery with what looks to be a 2:29. Apologies. We'll see just how much time Jazz does save.
Yeah, it should be at least 10 seconds. I think she'll be finishing at 52, if I have to guess.
Yeah, I think we're looking about a 16 second difference. Still very, very close.
But we do enter into the next RNG stage, Aquatic Mine, where you can get some very good sets, even in the teens, but at the same token, you can get pieces like Dented Ceiling or Path to the Abyss, and you can watch the time just melt down. So it's very RNG dependent to see what set Wagers gets.
Does get a ping right off the back here, though. I didn't see a free piece in this cutscene.
We'll see if there's any free pieces up here he might be missing.
Does seem to be doing all the checks.
Oh, there was 3 fans.
Oh, there was 3 fans. My apologies. Didn't see that in the cutscene. So Wade's looking like he's on a very good set. Jazz here getting a ping.
A brick rune that's always underwater, so he doesn't even have to do any sign clips. This was actually a phenomenal set from Wagers.
Yeah, he's a little caught up there as he goes through his movement, but yeah, very good time. 28 seconds from Wagers. You see Jazz here, not the best start, getting bottom of the main pillar.
Yeah,
a couple of attempts at war and not quite getting it.
We'll see what the P2 is from her. It's
Between the skulls facing each other.
Ooh, that's not the best, especially if she doesn't know how to do the monitor clip out of here. Because if she gets a no.
Yeah, I think we were gonna say looking. Oh, I was gonna say a ghost room piece, but not looking like.
How do you make an X? I think it's how do you make an X with skulls?
Behind a square tree. Ooh.
Oh no, that's even worse. Oh.
Very unfortunate final piece for Jazz.
So this is what we were talking about with bad P3s. She has to climb all the way back up to the top, and this is one of the few pieces up there you can't see on your first run around. So it just eats up a lot of time.
So maybe a little surprising for the chat, but that's about a 30-second time save in a hunting stage for Afwagers. So I don't mean to criticize, but as I said, the community does have a thing against his hunting ability, but he's clearly showing off that he can. Maybe he has been working secretly on his hunting a little bit. I've not seen too much wrong with it so far.
Yeah, I mean, other than a few technical movement issues here and there, he has actually been doing a very good job of making sure he's getting to these pieces in a pretty efficient manner. But there are still 2 more hunting stages, being Death Chamber, which is a very, very unforgiving stage in terms of sets, and Meteor Herd. So it'll be interesting to see how he does on those last 2, and see if maybe Jazz could either come back a bit more within her deficit, or if Wagers can further extend the lead that he has right now.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be interesting to see what does happen through this next desert section. Arguably the most technical part of the of the story, missing out on those major level skips and all very tight areas where you can take some rather large deaths.
Yeah, especially if you go opt for a GC skip, which is going through the wall, or pull hop. If you mess up anything, the first checkpoint's only 50 to 55 seconds in. So any deaths, especially towards the end, send you all the way back to the beginning, which is a huge time loss.
You do see Jazz here struggling a little bit to avoid some of these cars. Wade's had a fairly clean Route 101. So maybe opening up a little bit more of a lead here to the driving.
It looks like he may be finishing, I want to say, with a 218. If I'm actually, no, he's actually doing a very good pace. I want to say this might be a 216 if I'm looking at this correctly. Meanwhile, Jazz getting into the second checkpoint. This is about a 50-second difference at this point, which, like we were talking about, if Wagers messes up a pull hop or GC skip, that's very easily an opportunity for Jazz to come back in, especially if she opts for axle jump instead of those other two skips.
Yeah, and it has been a while since I've seen Wagers through the desert, so I'm not entirely sure what strats he does go for at Hidden Base. I think, if I remember, he might be an axle jumper himself, or at least was last I remember. So maybe going the safe way himself through this next level.
Yeah, typically with races, you want to make sure that, you know, a skip may take a couple seconds slower than another one, but if it's a lot safer, it might just be the better idea because you don't want to give up as much of your lead when you're racing against another person.
See, Jazz now coming to the end of Route 101. Again, not the cleanest. Definitely losing out in a few seconds here to Wagers. It's going to be 220, it looks like.
Wagers opting for axle jump, it looks like. Missing the pause hover, though. Oh.
They're having a little trouble here getting over that fence.
I can tell you from experience that when you mess up the first pause hover, the rhythm gets very hard sometimes, and those mistakes can just keep piling up.
See him shooting the enemy after he gets maybe a little bit of annoyance. Obviously, as enemies constantly shooting you as you're trying to do that skip, can throw you off a little bit.
Yeah, you have about maybe 2 or 3 attempts in that hallway for a pause hover, then if not, those enemies start raining down bullets on you. It makes it very difficult to try to actually get the inputs off. Wagers getting that.
Yeah,
that was like pixel. And he hits the first checkpoint, which means he's pretty safe from having any big deaths in Hidden Base.
See, Jazz here opting to go for, looks like it's going to be GC skip with the angle she's taking.
Hopefully she hits it good.
But does get through the wall nice and clean.
Yeah, with GC skip, you want to make sure you're hitting that corner as cleanly as you can. If you mess up the angle, the wall will actually drag you down. So it's very risky to do, especially if you can't consistently get the angle that you need to hit that skip.
Yeah, I know when I first started using it in 180 runs for Mission 2 at this stage, I had a few issues with it, just dragging me down a lot of the time. And then I started, if you just tap the left camera trigger, it gives you a bit of a straighter angle on it, and you can get through the corner a lot more consistently. I very rarely see myself drag down at all anymore, so maybe a tip for some runners out there.
Yeah, it's always a good idea to try to change your camera around to make sure you're getting yourself as clear of an angle as possible, especially with something as precise as that. We do see Wagers now finishing a Hidden Base. I believe that's a 157, which is not the best, but still pretty good considering the mistakes he had in the beginning of the stage.
Yeah, with those issues he had with Axel, it's obviously probably the slowest of the skips you can take at the start of the stage. 157 not being too bad with the rest of his movement. Maybe a slight opportunity for Jazz to get some seconds back if she can clean this stage out. I know she had a bit of an issue taking the bottom route earlier on in the stage, I think with a missed pause hover.
Yeah, it's a good thing that she was able to get through the rest of it. We do see Wagers now entering into Pyramid Cave. He was known for being a pretty good time on this stage. I think he would get typically in the 130s. So let's see if a lot of what he knew from back then still holds in today. So it looks like he will be cleanly getting over to the bounce bracelet without much of an issue.
See what time he does get a sub 30. Oh no, sorry, I misread the timer there. A 32. I don't know quite what I was reading. I think it's just the pixels on our little Discord stream here.
Yeah, it does make it a little difficult to read sometimes, but you get the general idea. So I believe it's still about a 50-second gap between these two runners, and he does get first try door clip. You want to make sure you're on a very specific spot for that jump, otherwise it can get very tedious having to get yourself into that position again. Will we see a snake skip or hex skip from Wagers?
He's definitely setting up. He is a snake skip goer. I don't imagine we'll see a hex skip from him. Yeah, opting for the much more sort of recognized common strat there, the snake skip.
Yeah, he's actually on a pretty good pace here.
Yeah, he definitely moving his way through Pyramid Quake quite nicely here.
Oh, Jazz having to do second try on the first door clip. That's going to eat up a little bit of time and give Wagers a little bit more of a gap here. We'll see if he sets up for the last. No, he's opting to play it safe, which is really a good idea, especially considering his time leaving Pyramid Cave.
18 minutes flat there with the 141. That will give us a very good indication of just how far the Jazz is behind at this point. But of course, we're entering stage Wagers Made Famous.
Yeah, it's now known as AF Chambers.
Yeah, for those of you who are not aware of him, he's had his issues in the past with this stage. So we'll have to see how RNG treats him. Green ping
off the start. Black and yellow stripes. Hopefully he knows where this one is. It is in the red hallway.
He does. He's going straight over there, not hitting the door though. Maybe forgetting about that one. But it probably is the worst green ping of the lot.
I mean, you can still get some decent times with it, but I think usually with these red hallway pieces, you have to take. Okay, triangle flame. Hopefully he knows where to go for this one.
Of course, in the blue room.
Opting for center.
I'm not saying that's a bad piece in the slightest. Yeah, having to check that second hint, so he's maybe not quite sure. Hopefully remembering where the water is. We see Jazz with an 8:53 leaving Pyramid Cave. About a 53-second difference. Hopefully
Jazz is able to get some good luck on her pieces like Wagers was able to. And it looks like she got Sniper for P1. That's very good. For depth strats on this stage, you typically want to find blue. Ooh, Gorillas Chase P3 for Wagers. That's really not a good piece that you want to get, as it's all the way in the back of green room. Especially if he opts for green door clip. There could potentially be some issues there. He is opting to play it safe, though.
See Jazz here, looking to take the death after Sniper. See how RNG rolls her here.
For those that are unaware, the reason you are dying on blue is because it gives you good chances of spawning a red room P2, which saves you a lot of times compared to running around the map.
Wagers. They're getting Nathan in the neck, I believe.
Yep.
Might have to wait a couple of seconds here for this hint monitor. Getting behind the Scorpion, so going over to red-green here. Opting not to booty clip, using the movement of the stage.
This is actually very good for her because that actually just really cut into her time deficit with Wagers, cutting it from about 50 seconds to only 18. That is a phenomenal time save.
Just getting, I believe, a 131, which not a terrible deathless, but yeah, definitely not up there with the better times you can get. Jazz maybe looking at about 55 seconds or so total time. That sort of region. So bringing that gap to about 12 seconds or so entering into King Moon Group.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Wagers getting the cap boost, so if he's able to get those 4 hits in, he will have a pretty decent boom boo time going into Egg Goal.
We saw how close our last raid was at this point, but then Ninja Frog, of course, suffering a little bit in this boss fight. Jazz, they're getting the bait, but then accidentally getting the spiral uppercut. They're not going to be able to go for cap boost here, so definitely a bit more time here for Wagers.
Yeah, and he was able to cleanly get out of there without any issues. But we head into one of the most technical bosses in SA2, Egg Golem. And Egg Golem is known for taking a lot of runs.
I do remember Wagers is a super bouncer.
Was the super bouncer.
It's still going to go for
it. Is.
Getting the first one, but then falling down on his second hit here. But choosing the safe strat, very understandable in this situation here, taking the easy hit from the back. Getting the third super bounce, though.
That's very nice. Could he get a cheat hit for the 4th one? No, he's not opting for it. He's just going to opt to play it safe. We'll see what Jazz decides to do.
That's also been going for some super bounces. Getting the bounce off the chest there. Very fortunate first hit.
We'll see how the second hit goes for her. Oh, she's opting for not profit bounces. Mock bounces.
Yeah, sorry, not mock bounces, the poverty bounces. Apologies.
Poverty bounces, that's what it was.
Getting the hit off the chest, but not quite the height. So this is looking like an unfortunate fight here for Jazz, who's got the 2 hits, but struggling a little bit on this third one.
At least
we'll get it now. Oh, no, very unlucky timing there.
Oh, she got the ballerina. Oh, she died. Oh no.
Hey, Golem, they're really not playing the game very nicely. That was a very, very unfortunate fall job. I've never seen him start the ballerina when you're on top of him before. So
this isn't good. It's going to further solidify Wagers' lead, maybe bring it back to the 50-second mark as Wagers is going for a second try Bofa. He has been having issues with the skip, but he does get it on the second try very cleanly. Let's see if he remembers how to hit the ring, though.
see Jazz is still struggling with her egg golem, getting that third hit now, so she'll be able to clean out the fight, but not the best fight from her. Handing that advantage further and further to Wages. Oh, but she's struggling for the fifth hit as well. That's spin dash jump off the arm, proving awkward as it can do. And again, trying to just save a little bit of time, but just losing more for the attempting that poverty bounce.
Yeah, and this is what we were talking about with the rhythm and how you're going through these stages, because a little mistake on egg golem like that, and it seems like your whole rhythm could get thrown off. We've seen it here with the death and a lot of the mock bounces or poverty bounces having a lot of issue for her. So it looks like Wagers is heading towards the end of Eternal Engine. We'll see if he's able to clip out into the ring before he heads over to Meteor Herd.
Does find the platform.
Runs off the side.
He does hit the goal ring, so clean second try both from Wagers.
Yeah, I believe the lead is gone up to about 1:20 now in Wagers' favor. If he doesn't mess up Meteor Herd, it's looking very nice for him. Jazz almost getting first try.
I do remember watching Jazz doing IL attempts for this stage at probably the Mission 4 not too long ago. So she would have been hoping there for that first try Bofo, but she needs the second try now to match Wagers.
Not getting it. No. She is opting for right box, though.
She is on her final life, so this doesn't make sense why she would attempt it. And getting it, okay.
Nice. What was Wagers? Okay, between the floating containers, could we possibly see some cryptic checks from Wagers? That would be very interesting to see if he does them.
I think you mean the Deku checks.
I think both names work. We'll see what his P2 is. Behind something powerful, I believe that said. I could not read the hint fully, but he is doing
a couple of checks there. I'm not quite sure he knows what he's checking for, but he was checking for something.
I would say maybe just circle the rotating beacon was the only check there. Wagers running for a different monitor.
I think I'm watching the stars, I believe his final piece is.
So it is probably a good thing he didn't go for those cryptic checks.
Yeah, he would not have found anything, I imagine, looking for those.
We'll see what happens. It is the top one. Hopefully he doesn't get meteor sniped off this piece. I think that's too high. He needs to go a little lower.
It does get it, so he's out of his RNG stages now. As you see, Jazz there finishing off her Bofa. You see just the difference between them. It's 30 seconds plus a Meteor Herd. So yeah, definitely the big advantage here for Wagers.
As we enter into Rouge and the end of Hero Story, which is Crazy Gadget and Final Rush, very technical stages with their skips that could be very unforgiving if you mess up your rhythm on them. We'll see what set Jazz gets. Maybe she gets a decent set and is able to catch back up.
It cannot float. I don't think it doesn't float. So
not the best, honestly.
No, I do see quite a few runners choosing to reset this first piece. Not a great one.
She didn't check 3 tanks though, and I do know there is a set that has 3 tanks for this piece. Second piece is
Dangerous Water Drops, I believe.
Why do I have the sickest feeling that this is a 3 tanks piece? Because I vaguely remember.
I think she vaguely did take a look there, so I'm not. I think she may have seen it if it was there, so we'll find out in a moment when she eventually kills that chaos.
Surrounded by spinner containers.
So
it's a good thing she didn't just take the hint and dive down. A lot of runners have an issue with that sometimes, where they assume the P3 is always going to be mid or bot.
Getting out of the sub 50 time. As you see, Wagers now getting close to attempting his CGSS. I know this is a trick he used to practice a lot before his runs, so he'll be hoping to get it nice and quickly. Well, if he is out of practice, it may open the door here for Jazz if he's unable to get it. We have to wait and see as he now sets up the box hover method.
I do know Wagers is very consistent with this skip at least, because I know he practiced. I stand corrected. Wagers messing up the first CGSS attempt, but I believe he has a stockpile of lives.
He does. He has another 6 lives to play with. He went very low there on that attempt. See if he can adjust for his second attempt.
For those who are unaware, what you're essentially doing is cutting through a bunch of kill planes and navigating yourself around them to head towards the goal ring, which you're seeing right here. Wagers getting through the second attempt. We'll see if he's lined up enough.
Does look good to land on top and does hit the goal ring. So getting it at the second try. A little bit sketchy, but he will take it as we see Jazz now entering. Just over a minute behind as she enters into Crazy Gadget.
Yeah, Wagers ending Crazy Gadget at the same time that Jazz is starting, so she's gonna need to pick up the pace here, especially as we enter into these last 2 stages. Wagers will be entering Eggman 2, which is possibly manipulated if you do the right inputs, but if you mess up the manipulation, it could become a very difficult fight, especially with that laser.
Yeah, so there are a couple of different manipulations you can go for. I think we saw Ninja Frog go for a less common one earlier and getting a very solid time with it. He's then pause hovering for the manip and getting it.
Oh, gets it. That's a beautiful job from Wagers. Believe that got him a 14. That's almost like the best time you can ask for with the RNG manipulation, or not RNG, with the manipulation for that boss.
Yeah, so the movement manipulation you're going for in that fight with that strategy there, about a mid 14 is the best you can hope for. So yeah, very, very clean fight from him.
Jazz getting through.
Out on the second attempt, using the bad cam method and hitting the goal ring, so she is out as well. So
now
we enter the final sort of stage of the level, but we have seen runners here struggle sometimes with this trick. So this race far from over as we enter this.
This is another one of those stages where the skip requires you to navigate around a kill plane to hit the ring. So if Wagers, he is doing bounce method, if he doesn't line up correctly and takes a death here, it will take a huge chunk of time out of him to be able to give Jazz a chance to catch up.
So I don't recall seeing Wagers go for fast fall in the past, so we expect to turn around about 40 seconds here. Any miscounting though, and it could very easily be a death, and this could be a very, very even race again.
Jazz getting the manip though, that's very nice on her end too, and she's getting a very similar time. I believe that's a high 14.
We did see Wagers turn at that 40 mark, so he's looking like his time is about right. He made it first through that first kill plane, so now just hoping he's going to be high enough. He's a little bit further to the left than I think I'd like to be, but not by much, so he should be fine in terms of the kill plane.
Typically you want to make sure that ball is around the center of those things, but it looks like it didn't matter. It looks like he's lined up very well to take the end of the skip, so as long as he doesn't mess up Shadow 2, he is looking to take this race. Wait, is this a little too low? No, he has more than enough height. Pixels made it a little hard to see. Jazz messing up. No, I think that might solidify it.
Yeah, we did see her struggling with this skip yesterday in her race. Clearly not able to fix that problem overnight. Hopefully she does get out of it second try. Still looking at a good mid-28 pace. As Wagers here, we're looking at coming in with potentially a 26, which would be a very solid first showing.
That would be very solid. A lot of runners would be very happy to leave a race with a 26, especially considering these are no reset runs. Jazz messing up the jump, but she is going hoverless on the bounceless method, which is essentially saying you need their height to be perfect. Wagers with the first hit.
The Jazz does actually have the tutorial for the bounceless method that is commonly used. So expect her to know what she's doing here.
Oh no, Wagers having issues with Shadow getting the second hit though.
Needs to be quick with his final hit over these Sonics. Jazz about to disappear. Oh, he does make it count. Just about saving himself there. Yeah, certainly not the cleanest fight, but he does come in, gets his final hit, and that is a victory for AF Wagers in his first match with 27-15.
Congratulations, Wagers.
Yeah, very, very good showing from Wagers here. Yeah, certainly not the cleanest fight, but people weren't quite sure what to expect from him, having been out of the game for a few months, but coming back and showing he does still have it, a very, very good time. And maybe putting a little bit of a statement out to some of the members of his group who may have thought he might be a bit of a rabbit there in the headlights with not having the practice, but definitely going to be a hard matchup for a lot of these players.
Yeah, especially with a statement like that from Wagers at 27-15, especially as he goes into his next match, which I believe is against Papa Bear, which Liam and I will be commentating. So that will be an interesting match to see if Wagers can keep up this pace or if the pressure might get to him, especially on second round.
Yeah, so this will be Wages' next. His next match will be his first match up against a member of the Kiss Wages crew, I believe, as he used to be known. As we
Yes,
see Jazz,
that was a trend started at some point.
as we see Jazz now entering into Shadow 2, looking to clean out her race.
She does, if she gets this done, it will be a 28, which is still a very respectable time also.
Looking out for the final hit now, and getting it. So it's mid 28, 28:30. Definitely, I think an improvement on her performance yesterday, but still maybe not up to the standard she would be hoping from herself. But definitely making improvements. Wade is getting a very solid time, so no shame in losing to it.
Exactly.
Definitely,
This was a very good run from both of them. They both performed very well.
yeah. So shout outs to both players for very good performance. And so as Yanni did mention, it will be Wages staying on for the next match against Papa Bear. I will be leaving my commentary stint for the day. I've had my 3. I did have my second COVID shot earlier, so hopefully I don't get those side effects coming on. But I'm
I
about
hope you
that
feel
time.
better.
Yeah, so hopefully go pick yourself a line down. Hopefully not feeling anything too bad. As Yanni continues on his marathon commentary block.
You got 5 more hours with me, guys.
Yeah, so look forward to that. We do potentially have an exhibition match after this next one, depending on if we have the time. And we did make up some time with that match, so hopefully looking potentially still on pace for that.
Yeah, fortunately, I don't think we have time for any interviews, so I think we're going to have to move on to the next race at some point, especially considering we are behind schedule.
Yeah, we are.